to Griffon Update Sports, a student-produced show all about Missouri Western athletics. We've got it all every week. Highlights, games, players, fans, and every sport all year long.
Welcome to Griffon Update Sports. I'm your host, Bailey Ketchum.
And I'm Jake Michael. On today's show, we're going to take a look at the academic life of student athletes and hear from our new men's basketball coach.
We'll also have our Player of the Week and test your knowledge during our sports trivia segment.
And of course, we'll have our roundtable discussion about a hot sports topic.
This week, we're discussing the NBA playoffs.
I'm going Hardin and H-Town all the way. Speaking of basketball, the Missouri Western men's basketball team has a new head coach. Reporter Gannon Cornley has more on the Sundance Wicks press conference.
Sundance Wicks, that's right, Sundance, is the fifth men's head basketball coach in school history. Wicks heads to Western after serving as the associate head coaching position at Northern State University. Athletic Director Josh Looney spoke on the search process and the mission for finding a new head coach.
The committee kept it simple. We had two non-negotiables. The first is we needed to find a relentless recruiter, someone that we knew that could go into the homes of high school student athletes, the transfer student athletes, and bring them to Missouri Western. The second non-negotiable is we needed someone who'd been part of a championship culture at the NCAA Division II. And frankly, that looked like the decision and the direction we were going as we went through this, because we kept interviewing head coach, but we hadn't yet talked to Coach Wicks because they kept winning. And when we did meet Sonny face-to-face, we knew that he was our guy.
Coach Wicks brings an incredible amount of intensity and firepower as he looks to take the men's basketball program to a new level.
You're going to hear a lot of words from me like jacked, awesome, crushed it, stuff like that all the time. Because there's too much good things that happen in life, and it doesn't take any talent to be negative. So I just like to start with that. You know, I'm a big on promoting positivity. So you're going to find that we're going to do a lot of relentless optimism here. And that kind of crushes the haters and the doubters. But grind and grit. Get ready, it's a new day. That's grind. Get ready, it's a new day. Because we can't think about what happened in the past. We have to get ready right now because today's a new day and we got to get it going. We got to get moving. The will to develop skill on a daily basis. The will is way more important than the skill right now for us. Talent's awesome. I love talent. But Kevin Durant said hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So we want to make sure that we have that will to transfer the skill and to develop the skill and to become greater players, better people. A will is such an important thing in our life. We all have that will inside of us. But we got to pull it out every day. We got to pull it out of ourselves every single day.
Wicks is fresh off a national championship appearance at Northern State and looks to do the same here at Western. Wicks also plans to keep a majority of the coaching staff. For Griffon Update Sports, I'm Gannon Cornley II.
It'll always be sunny in St. Joe with him around. Up next, our current player of the week.
This week, it's track and field star Hannah Williams. She has won the 400 2 weeks in a row and continues to break school records. Reporter Dawson Whitman has more on Williams' success.
This week's player of the week is freshman track runner Hannah Williams. With this being the first year of track and field at Missouri Western, Williams sure is not disappointing. Williams is coming off a strong showing at the MIAA vs. NSIC tournament in which she placed first in the 400 meter for the second week in a row. Williams was also a part of the 4x400 meter team that placed fourth in the same tournament. Williams says it feels good to win, but after the race you are exhausted.
It feels really good to win the 400 because after the 400 you can't even say anything or do anything because you just pass out on the ground because your legs are dead and you can't breathe.
Williams says her favorite thing about track is her teammates, but credits sprint coach Cody Ingold for her success.
I give credit to my coach, Coach Ingold. He's pushed me a lot, and he makes sure my grades are up, which is a huge thing, or I wouldn't be running right now. But yeah.
However, Ingold says he can't take all the credit for everything Hannah has done.
She just shows up every day. I mean, that's a big rule. You show up every day, do everything you're asked. Hopefully good things happen, and I mean, thankfully they have. I can't take credit for everything she's done. She's an amazing athlete and really easy to work with also.
With only a few meets left, what is Williams' goal for the season?
I personally want to accomplish going to nationals. Of course, that's what everybody wants to do. And I actually want just more than 1 or 2 people going to nationals. I want to see like the whole team, or at least a relay or something like that as a team.
With Hannah Williams only being a freshman, she still has 3 more years of experience to gain. This could spell trouble for her opponents.
With Griffon Update Sports, I'm Dawson Whitman.
It's a good thing I never chose to run track because I can't do what she does, that's for sure.
You know, one thing that is a big part of being an athlete at Missouri Western is the student side. Our athletic teams have excelled in academics this year. Reporter Caitlin Doolin tells us more about their success.
Missouri Western student athletes averaged a 3.06 GPA in the fall of 2017. Signe Combs explains some of the resources available for student athletes here at MWSU.
Workman Center, which is in the Griffon Indoor Sports Complex, and it's just a classroom with computers. There's table rounds, whiteboards that our student athletes can use throughout the day to study before or after practice, and that's a resource that's available to them. We also have a mentoring program that if somebody is in need and needs additional assistance throughout the semester, we pair them with a mentor, which is a graduate assistant within our program. And they meet with them on a weekly basis and talk about what's on tap for that week, whether it's tests coming up or homework assignments, and then they talk about study habits and time management skills and things like that.
The team with the highest GPA was the women's tennis team with a 3.64 average. 192 athletes were selected to be on one of the 3 honor rolls. 34 of the athletes were on the President's Honor Roll with a semester GPA of 4.0, 55 athletes on the Dean's List, which is a semester GPA of 3.5 or higher, and 103 athletes were on the Athletic Director's Honor Roll with a semester GPA of 3.0 or higher. The athletes were honored at a basketball game last semester. Missouri Western athletes are an example that they have great success on and off the field. Reporting for Griffon Update Sports, this is Caitlin Doolin.
So are you one of those smart athletes?
Do you even have to ask?
I guess not. One of the things we do here at Griffon Update Sports is to make sure we give the students on campus a voice and see how much they know. Check out our sports trivia segment, Do You Know Your Sports, with Bailey Ketchum.
They're playing basketball.
Okay, Ben, who do you think will be the final team standing in the NBA playoffs?
We have to say any team with a KU athletic alumni.
Okay, this year in the NBA, who are some of your favorite teams?
My favorite teams are the Lakers, Golden State Warriors, and the Rockets.
Okay, Joe, do you think that Steph Curry will make a full recovery and be the player that he has been in the past?
Absolutely, I think he will. I think he's going to have a great postseason, and I think he's going to really play well and lead his team to the finals.
Who are some teams that are on the edge that you're hoping are going to make it into the playoffs this year?
I say the Denver Nuggets. I hope they get the AC because I like Jamal Murray. I think he's a good guard, and they got one of the top young centers in the NBA in Nikola Jokic, and he's also an excellent center who can play the 1 or the 5. Even though he's very tall, I think he can play he can be a good point guard, pretending at 7 foot. He can dribble the ball and pass, and he can also defend the rim and shoot the 3-pointer, and that's key, being a 7-footer.
Who are some of your favorite teams in the NBA this year?
I would say Celtics, Cavs, Warriors, obviously, and I'll go for the Rockets. Why not?
Who do you think is going to be the final team standing in the NBA playoffs this year?
OKC, and the only main reason why is Westbrook. Enough said.
What 2 teams do you think would be the best showdown in the playoffs?
Well, heck, I want to see the Rockets versus the Cavaliers. That'd be nice. I don't want to see the Warriors versus the Cavaliers again because we've seen that too many times. So.
Who are some of your favorite teams in the NBA this year?
I like the Nets and the Mets and the Jets and the Bears and the Cubs and the Chiefs and the Royals.
Don't think those were NBA teams, but, whatever floats your boat.
I can't wait to talk more about the playoffs.
We'll have plenty of time for that during the roundtable, but first, after this break, we'll have more sports trivia.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back to our sports trivia segment. Today, the reigning champion Dawson Whitman and Gannon Cornley will be competing against each other in sports trivia. The winner, as usual, will be on the final show next week. Let's begin. This week, it's all about the start of MLB season. Question 1. Who are the 3 Bronx Bombers this year?
Judge, Stanton, and Sanchez.
Correct. Latest power rankings have who at number 1?
The Astros.
Correct. Who is the KC Royals ace?
Danny Duffy.
Yep. Number 4. The New York Mets are in what league? Gannon.
The NL East.
Correct. Name a team that hasn't won a game yet.
We go with the Atlanta Braves. The Oakland A's.
I got you both. Trick
Ooh,
question. There is not a team that hasn't won a game yet.
Oh, okay.
Next question. Who did the Red Sox play in their opening series?
I believe it was the Blue Jays.
Yep. Who does Bryce Harper play for? Dawson.
Washington Nationals.
Correct. What team did Eric Hosmer change to? Dawson.
San Diego Padres.
Correct. What team are the Mariners?
They're a baseball team, but no, they're
From who?
They're from Seattle.
Okay.
I was just answering your question.
All right. Last question. Who is Shohei Ohtani?
He's a pitcher and batter for the Los Angeles Angels.
You are right. And once again, you're still the champion. You'll be on the show next week.
Nice job.
We'll be right back with our sports roundtable after this.
At Missouri Western, it's on us.
It's on us, all of us, to take responsibility and stop sexual assault.
To create a campus environment where everyone is safe and feels safe.
To realize that ending sexual assault is not an individual endeavor,
but a collective effort.
To understand that it affects not only students, but faculty and staff members alike.
At Missouri Western, we take action.
It's on us to look out for each other and not look the other way.
We step up and say something.
We support survivors. We are going to be a part of the solution and not the problem.
It's on us to intervene and take responsibility.
So take action because we can and will make a difference.
At Missouri Western,
it's on us
to put an end to sexual assault.
Begin by taking the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back. Jake and I are here along with Griffon News sports editor Derek Zimmerman-Geyer to talk about the NBA playoffs. Jake, what are you thinking about it?
Well, I'm actually happy that there's a lot more parity this season. Going into the season, everybody thought, well, it's just going to be Cavs-Warriors, part 4, ho-hum. But then some injuries happened, unfortunately. I was actually really hurt when it was reported that Kyrie wasn't going to play in the playoffs, because it was bad enough they had to lose Hayward in the first game of the year, and then that happens. And before then I thought, okay, well, the Celtics, they have a chance. It's obviously a huge hit when Hayward goes out. But I figured they would have still had a chance. But because the season isn't over yet officially, and the seeding's not set in stone, we don't really know the matchups. So things could get mixed around. I think 3 through 8 in the Western Conference, all those teams are like a game and a half within each other. So it could get shaken up a little bit. Cleveland's a team that I'm very interested in because before the trade deadline, there was no chemistry at all. Isaiah Thomas was just not going to fit in there. So I thought they had no shot of even competing for a championship. And then they did some dealing. And then you get a new core of guys, some younger players, some fresh legs. And so it'll be interesting to see how they gel and how they figure things out. LeBron's been outstanding this year. He'll be in the MVP conversation. But he's going to play 82 games for the first time in his career. He's played a lot of minutes. I think he's averaging like 37 minutes a game. So going into the playoffs, and there's 2 different LeBrons. You have a regular season LeBron and playoffs LeBron. 2 totally different players. He takes it to a whole nother level, and he's already been outstanding this regular season. But with all those minutes played, it's going to be interesting to see if he's physically or mentally fatigued.
Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving's injuries for the Celtics really derailed their whole season. I actually thought they could be a threat to anyone out there in the East. especially the Cavs. I thought that was going to be the conference finals matchup right there. But unfortunately, those injuries took place. But switch over to the West. I think the Rockets are going to skyrocket to the NBA Finals, pun intended. I think right now, of course, the only threat is the Warriors over there because, the Warriors are the Warriors. Steph is coming back soon. The Thunder, I thought the Thunder would be a lot better than they were. They still made the playoffs, but, their big three they haven't really gelled yet. But I think once those three superstars get into the postseason, I think things will start to click finally.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, I was thinking Celtics as well, but injuries have screwed up pretty much every team this year with Kyrie out. I still think that the Celtics have an all right chance of being in the playoffs. I really hope that they meet the Wizards in the first round. I think it would be cool to see the Morris twins go up against each other. But I agree with you. The Rockets, they are just, in the past, they've been a really good team, but this year they've really stood out, and Chris Paul and James Harden are a great duo. James Harden obviously is, I think, the MVP, but he's such a good defender. He's good in the paint. He's a good outside shooter. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. They are going to be a big competitor for the Warriors, which, big question, do you guys think that Steph Curry is going to come back and play?
Oh, I think he will, and even if he's not ready, I think he'll at least make an effort to come back and figure himself out in the lineup. And, that is a huge question mark because OKC, if they end up getting that 7 seed, I think the Warriors are a lock at 2. I don't think there's any question about it. They're just too far behind Houston. But if OKC has to face them in the first round and they don't have Steph, that's a problem. And, it's going to be up to Billy Donovan to get with his team and say, it was a rough patch of a regular season, but now it's a new season and we need to figure it out. And I think with all those star players and an underrated big man in Steven Adams, he's very underrated. If they can get it all to work, and Melo just totally forgets about the regular season because I think he really needs to. And it's all going to start with Westbrook, whether he's going to be a facilitator and he's going to pick and choose his spots when he needs to be the man. But you also got to get those other guys involved.
Like I said, if Steph comes back, they're a threat to the Rockets. But, with Harden and Chris Paul, they've been unstoppable lately. And, I know Golden State still has Draymond Green and Klay Thompson and all of them and KD, of course. But it's still going to be a task.
Yeah, something that I think the Warriors, without Steph, are lacking is their intensity and drive to just go all the time. I feel like they've kind of been lacking they've lost 5 of their last 10 games, and that's where they're struggling right now. So if they do face up against OKC in the first round, which I'm hoping, I think they could knock them out because it would be surprising. But it is surprising that OKC hasn't done as well this season just with the players that they have with Carmelo and Westbrook. But I'm really excited to see them. I'm hoping this year is not a rematch of the Warriors and Cavs. I want to see someone else in there. But I think the Cavs are definitely going to make a running. I think it would probably be Cavs and Rockets is what I'm going for.
That's fair. I think before the regular season, I was thinking Warriors and Celtics, and then, some unfortunate things happen. I still like the Warriors if they get Steph back at the right time and if they can survive the first round against whoever they play. Because Steph really is that engine that really gets them going because he's able to score at a really fast click. And so that really, it gets the crowd behind you, it gets the rest of your teammates behind you. I like the Rockets too. I think James Harden's the MVP. He's going to run away MVP because, I think, the last couple of years, I think he's gotten second place. I think it's this time that he actually gets validated as a great player. I'm gonna throw a dark horse out here. I'm going to throw out the Philadelphia 76ers because they've been so hot. You laugh, but they've been so hot, and I think they're with that nucleus of young players with a sprinkle of veteran players mixed into it. That's a scary team. It really is. I think if they can find that one guy to defend LeBron James and to shut him down, I think it's going to be Ben Simmons. I think I'm just throwing a dark horse out there. I think it could be the Sixers. If Joel Embiid is not on a minutes restriction in the playoffs and he's able to play throughout the whole playoffs, you don't know.
I hope you're not saying the 76ers are going to make the finals just because Stephen A. Smith did, because that would be an atrocity.
That's not why.
No. The 76ers can make a good run if Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are consistent, both at the same time. The playoff scene will be a lot more. The playoff scene for Simmons as a rookie is going to be big for him, and he's going to need Embiid's support the whole time. But even then, with LeBron against them, I think he's just too much for them, and I'm seeing the Cavs taking to the finals.
No, I don't think the 76ers are that big of a dark horse. They are on a really hot streak right now, and they secured a home court advantage for the first round, so that's big for them. But how about your guys' MVPs? I think Harden. You think Harden as well?
It's a clean sweep.
Clean sweep?
Yeah. Clean
Harden,
sweep.
wow.
It's unanimous.
That's the first time we've all agreed on something.
He deserves it.
Hey, Philadelphia's on a roll. Villanova just won the championship. Eagles won the Super Bowl. Come on, let's just keep it going.
Let's not forget you didn't pick the Eagles, so.
Well, I think even if the 76ers, I did not. I didn't. That was a flub up on my part. But even if the Sixers make it, I don't think they're going to win the finals. I just think they'll make it.
Oh,
I think Houston will win the whole thing. Houston or Golden State, depending on what happens with Steph.
I'll stick with the Cavs. I said that earlier this year. I'm going to have the Cavs and the Rockets. It's LeBron versus Harden, which I think was what everyone wants to see. MVP versus, pretty much the other MVP. And that's going to be an exciting matchup, but I got Cavs.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking as well. After this break, we'll take a look at more results from our teams and this week's upcoming sporting events. Welcome back. Before we end the show, we want to give you more updates about what's going on with all Missouri Western sports.
Baseball went 1-2 in a 3-game series against Northeastern State and Oklahoma. Women's tennis lost both matches last weekend against UCO and Northeastern. Men's and women's track and field won 3 events at their last meet. Hannah Williams in the 400, Phil Thompson in the triple jump, and Tanner Butterfield in the javelin.
For the upcoming schedule, softball is home against Fort Hays and Nebraska Kearney. Baseball faces the rival Bearcats tonight at 7 p.m. at home and also have a home series against Linwood starting Friday. Women's tennis starts the MIAA tournament on Monday in Lincoln, Nebraska. Men's golf starts the MIAA Bronco Stampede on Monday at UCO. And men's and women's track and field will compete in the KT Woodman Classic on Friday in Wichita.
That's all we have for you today. For more information on Griffon Athletics, check out gogriffons.com. Also, check out Bailey's Sports Report on Griffon Update next week.
We've got you covered every week. From all of us here at Griffon Update Sports, thank you for watching.